Now, to understand what does it really mean to have the one, finding someone who is going to care so much that nothing else would matter. They'll be there with me, for me, in a capacity that I will never feel lonely again. I will never feel not good enough again. I will never feel not pretty, not handsome enough again. I will just feel enough. I will feel adequate. I will feel sufficient. I'll feel good enough. I'll feel actually pretty good once this right person comes along. There is a massive amount of anxiety around this subject.
Pour the Heart Out. Episode 6, Finding Love.
Tell me, have you ever not felt you wanted that one person who you could reach out to for everything? For the big news, for the sad news, for the 4 a.m. conversations, and for all those lunch and dinner dates? That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about finding the one, we're talking about finding love. And once again, we have with us Praneet Kaur, a counseling psychologist and a relationship expert. Hi, Praneet, and welcome to episode 6 of Pour the Heart Out. So let's start by understanding this innate need that we all have to find the one. What do you have to say about that?
Right. So, Isha, this is one need that I think is driving the entire society today. I think never before have we invested in love so much. Never before have we made so many movies, so many songs, written so many books about it. And they're all talking about how to find the one. There is a massive amount of anxiety around this subject. Everyone is talking about it. Everyone is either extremely elated because they found their one, the one, or everyone is really anxious because they're not quite sure if they'll find them. Everyone is looking at a potential partner from that lens, that are you my soulmate? Are you the one I'm looking for? So there's a lot of ruckus, a lot of chaos around this whole subject, and we can't help but feel extremely anxious about it. And the entire paradox of choice does not help. There is so much choice today. We've broken out of the gender roles, we've broken out of the rules that were set for us. We're not in the arranged marriage structure anymore. There are so many other formats in which we're practicing relationships today. So the choices are, there a great number of choices, to choose from. And um, technically, the more you have to choose from, the better it is, but not in this case, because it's the choice paradox. The more choice you have, the more crazy it drives you, thinking that, oh, what if I've settled for the person a little too soon? What if there are more people out there who are better off, who are better fitted for me? So how do I know that this is the one? But to understand if this concept is in fact true, to understand why are we so um, uh, curious and so anxious about this entire subject, and where does it really stem from? And I think to understand that, we'll have to go back to our childhoods. We have to understand that, that a how it was for the boomers, it isn't for the millennials anymore. They did not have as much choice. For them, it is that if you're happy, great. If you're not happy, adjust. If you're really, really not happy, that's when you can consider getting out of that relationship. But today, the question is not about getting happy, or not being happy. It's about where can I be happier? I'm happy here, but there I can be happier. There I can get more things that I want. So the dynamics are really changing. Now, to understand what does it really mean to have the one, to find that one person who's going to be your chosen one, who's going to be your everything. We're all approaching this as, finding my person, finding my soulmate, finding someone who is going to care so much that nothing else would matter. They'll be there with me, for me, in a capacity that I will never feel lonely again. I will never feel not good enough again. I will never feel not pretty, not handsome enough again. I will just feel enough. I will feel adequate. I will feel sufficient. I'll feel good enough. I'll feel actually pretty good once this right person comes along. It's like the ultimate medicine to all the problems and all the diseases. It's finding the one. And the moment you start to look at this concept, you start to understand that it's actually quite plaguing, you know, that we're approaching such an important relationship in our life as the ultimate answer to all our life problems, And this is a lot of pressure on one relationship. This is a lot of things being put on the shoulder of this just one person. And this is something that we call as magical thinking in the technical jargon, Magical thinking is a distorted way of thinking where we think that this one person or one gesture or one action is going to change my entire reality. Exactly what happens in the fairy tale world, right? That a woman is going to be really sad, she's going to be really upset, she's going to have her life completely like all over the place. And then this one person is going to come along, and that's it. All your miseries are going to be put to an end, and there's going to be a happy forever thereafter. And that's it. That's the end of all the sadness, all the troubles, all the negative feelings, perhaps. And all you're going to feel thereafter is happiness, you know. Now, the interesting thing is like when I said that we have to go back to our childhood, but the interesting thing to understand is that actually we were all born with this tendency. As children, we all have the tendency of thinking magically, you know. We believe in magic, we believe in Santa Claus, we believe in unicorns, and that's our imaginative capacities. That's how we look at the world. We make a lot of personal fables. That's how we live and evolve and grow and develop. But here's what happens when you are brought up in a dysfunctional family, when your dependency needs are unmet. Dependency needs being that I'm a child and I'm so dependent and I can't take care of myself. So I need my caretakers to be there for me, to hear me out, to see me, and to be there for me while I'm authentically expressing myself. These are my dependency needs. These are the dependency needs of every child. But when these needs are not fulfilled, and a dysfunctional set of caretaker starts to tell these children, shame them actually for having needs, or start to tell them that um, your gesture or something that you did made such a significant impact. When a child is told or made to feel that way, for example, because you didn't listen to your mother, look, she's so upset today. You made your father angry. It's because of you that he hit me. you know um, to tell a child that I know exactly what you're thinking. I know what is going on in your mind. I know you've done some shararat. To tell the child, to make them feel that I know, or that if you'll do this, this will happen. There are so many households in which children are being told that because of you, your father got a heart attack. Because of you, your mother in hospital. Because of you, your grandmother died you know so when these things are said, even if they're said in rage, in the passing, or in whichever context, these things really stick with children. They carry these things forward when they grow up. So when these dependency needs are not met, and rather children are blamed, and they're made to feel that their emotions, their feelings, what they're saying, what they're doing affects the greater reality, then this magical thinking doesn't dissolve with age as it should developmentally, ideally. So they grow up, they become an adult, but this child part still keeps thinking magically inside of them. And this is where we start to see that people don't take charge of their life as adults, and they keep waiting for something to happen, some magic to happen, and everything will be okay. I have clients walking in who go like, there's so much chaos in my life now, I just want to find a partner, who just who just comes in and fixes it for me. I've been through so much. I just want that now. Or coming in and saying that I just want to get a job. Once I get a job, everything will be okay. When asked, what are you doing to get a job? They don't have much to say. I'm waiting, I'm talking to people, very vague answers. But when you talk to them, you'll realize that there isn't taking any charge, there isn't taking any responsibility. There isn't taking any charge or responsibility of their life, but they're just waiting for something magical to happen. and for everything to just magically change one day, you know. And that is the same thing that manifests in relationships as well, then, you know. You keep waiting for this one person, and everything that you've not had, all your unmet needs, you're going to club them together and you're going to make this fantasy person in your head, and you'll start convincing yourself that once this person comes into your life, you're going to be good. So I think it's essentially coming from the place of where we don't um, stop, or we don't come out of the fairy tale world, you know, where we're waiting for something or someone to come along to fix us so that we can finally feel how we always wanted to feel.
Right. And what happens when, say, perhaps you're in this stage or you found someone and you're still trying to figure out if they are the one? How does that affect you mentally and emotionally, both as an individual, and how does that impact a relationship?
Right. You know, like I said, there is so much pressure on a relationship. You know, you are putting all of your expectations on one person, that you will walk into my life and I will never be unhappy again. You will walk into my life and I'm not going to be unsatisfied anymore. My anger issues, my pains, my sufferings, all of them are going to come to an end. So when I say that I want the one in my life, I mean that I want everything in that person. I want to find a friend in them. I want to find a partner in them, obviously. Hopefully, probably find a co parent in them eventually. I want to find a guide in them, an intellectual confidant, intellectual equal in them, a confidant in them. I want them to be the lively part of my life. I want them to be the serious part of my life. I basically want them to be my entire life. I want them to be everywhere. I want them to be my greatest adventure and yet be someone that I know entirely. You know, I want to explore the entire world with them, but I also want to stay in when I'm, you know, down to drains with them. I want it all with this one person, and that is so much pressure to put on one relationship. And then what do you think is going to happen? You know, it's all going to come crumbling down because there's only so much weight that a person or a relationship can take, right? Once you approach your relationship from this perspective, that I want this person to do everything for me, then conflicts in a relationship, there's no room for it. Because here, conflict is not us having conflict in a relationship like every couple does. Here, conflict means that you are not giving me what I want. That I had gone through so much, and now, even after you coming into my life, I'm not happy, I'm not satisfied. And if that is the case, then you're the reason. Then there's something that you're not doing right. So then conflicts are not approached from the place of, okay, what, you know, where are we at? What's happening? There's no checking in with each other. But conflict feels like, you know, like an impending doom. Like we're going to get apart now. It's not working out, you know. Like I said, that we immediately start thinking, where can I be happier? Instead of understanding, but what is causing this? Then it starts to lead to a lot of all the, you know, the red flags that eventually then lead to a breakup or a relationship just not working out, which is becoming absolutely indifferent to your partner, having very hostile conversations, attacking each other a lot, you know, becoming very condescending to each other, you know, um, behaving in the relationship in a way that, you know, I am superior than you, I understand things better than you, and I'm there for you more than you are there for me, you know. So this score keeping starts, you know. And the moment you become hostile and indifferent and the score keeping starts and you start to build a wall between you and your partner, then there is very less scope for both of you to be able to work out your issues, you know. Because like I said, then it's not both of you versus your issues, then it's you versus me. You know, you're not doing enough for me. This is not what I signed up for. I wanted something so much more than this. And what happens is that in the initial phase, we do it all for our partner, you know, not because we're always like we want to sort of have the person and then like take them for granted, not really, but you know, because of that rush. When you have that rush in the beginning, you want to do it all, you want to bring all the happiness to your partner, but it's practically and humanly not possible to be everything and everyone for one person. So you can't hold up that kind of a role in the relationship for too long. And when it starts to crumble down, because you are now tired and suffocated already, and the other person starts to feel that your love is fading away, and what you were doing in the beginning was faking. So in so many ways, in so many dynamics, your relationship basically starts to become very pressurized. So one person is always feeling suffocated and the other person is always suffocating you know so all in all, I think the health of the relationship takes a massive toll when all of that, what an entire community used to provide at some point, is now being expected from just one person. That's a lot of pressure. And this is, by the way, alongside you doing well for yourself, because I want that too. I want a competent partner. I want a partner who's doing good in their life as well. I want someone who's confident. I want someone who's very secure in their skin. I want someone who's always scaling in their career and they're there for me. I basically want a superhero or a superwoman in disguise. That's what I want. And then it starts to come to this, that if you are my chosen one, then I'm also your chosen one. you know if you are my the one, that you then you have also chosen me. So if you are that important to me, I automatically become very important, because out of all that choice, out of all of those people out there, you chose me. So that automatically makes me feel like I'm on the pedestal. And like I said, in the beginning phase of the relationship, you're investing so much in each other that you start to feel, you know, you start to draw a lot of value from that relationship. And when that starts to change because of the pressure, you start to doubt yourself as well. And this is how it hits your self esteem then. You not only think that your partner doesn't love you anymore, but you also start thinking that you are not deserving of that love. That there's something wrong with you, that this person was giving you so much, but now they're not. So you start calculating and speculating, what have I not done right? Where did I go wrong? You know, what is it that I did that is making my partner not love me as much? Have I turned boring? So you try to be something else or someone else, or you become very cranky. And there's just so many stories that you start to tell yourself in the head. Both the partners are doing that, and nobody's talking to each other about it because communication has completely shut down. Because we've complained to each other so much, we've attacked each other so much that one person has turned indifferent, one person has turned like a complaint box. One person is hostile and the other person is completely shut down. And there is absolutely no scope. So you see that there's just a massive amount of suffocation in this relationship. And something that started off just fine blows up in a way that it comes to a point where there is absolutely no scope in a relationship that had a lot of potential. But this one concept that this person is going to do it all for me kind of screws it up.
And I mean, this was about people who've tried to find the one, they've maybe found the one, and that's when they're grappling with this idea. But what about people who haven't been able to even once have that strike and see, is it working out? So, what about the people who are still in that chase? How do you think this construct of the perfect one or the chosen one affects them? I mean, not finding the chosen one, rather, how does that affect them?
That's a beautiful question. So you see, whether or not you found this person, your this construct is there in your mind, that when am I going to be happy? When this person comes along. When I'm going to be at my best productive self? When this person comes along. When am I going to have all my sufferings and pain go away? When I find my soulmate. Which means that automatically I'm not going to feel all of these things before this person comes along. Which means that automatically I'm not going to bring that kind of vulnerability to other relationships in my life. I am, if expecting my partner or future partner to be my best friend, my guide, my teacher, my parent, someone that I completely confide in, what does that mean? Then what about my actual parents? What about my actual friends and my actual guides and mentors and, all of these people? We hear this so many times, right? That, oh, now that you found a partner, you don't call up your friends. Now that you found a partner, you don't want to talk to anyone. So this is what happens. Even if you've not found the one, you're so stuck up on that idea that you're not acknowledging and appreciating what you have. And that may not be your romantic the one, but that may be a very good friend. That may be a parent who's really evolved with you. and is now ready to give you their love. That may be a colleague who's really been there for you, but you tend to overlook all of that, and you tend to not bring your entire vulnerable self to these relationships because you constantly feel everyone has a pass. It's okay if my friend doesn't understand me. I don't need to figure out the I don't need to resolve this. If it doesn't, so basically we let go or we give up on all of our other relationships a lot sooner because we feel that anyway this one person is going to come along and only that person is going to be my person. A lot of my clients when walk in talk about having breakups with their friends, and then when I ask them that what did you do, how did you communicate that you were really hurt, or did you tell them how you felt? So they were like, no, what am I going to do? At the end of the day, they have their partner, they have their family, and I can't ask too much. So you see that we've stopped expecting that from other relationships in life. We have started to think that no one else is going to be my person, as we say. It's only going to be my one partner. So what we're doing is that from that collectivism we're going towards individualism. We want to do it all on our own, but once this partner comes along we want to dump it all on them. That now I'm tired of doing it on my own, now you come and you carry my baggage, please, I'm really done. you know and it's again putting all your eggs in one basket, and then being so careful about that basket because the stakes are really high. You can't lose it, you can't have it break down, you can't let go, you can't you know um have someone else take it away from you. Because with that then all your eggs go away, and we're not doing that with our other all our other baskets are empty. And at the end of the day then we're feeling really lonely, we're feeling really like an outcast, and then that makes us want to have our the one even more. So you see how it's a loop, that because we want our person we're not investing in our other relationships. When we don't invest in our other relationships we keep complaining, I don't have friends, I don't have close friends. If only I had that friends TV show equation going on. If only I had that kind of a person. I'll tell you, a lot of people who crave this kind of connection, etc., they watch a lot of sitcom. They watch a lot of light TV series, etc., where there is like a lot of family thing going on, a lot of friends thing going on, and they wish and hope that they had something similar in their life. But when asked, what are you doing to have this in your life? Waiting, just waiting for someone to just come along and just understand. Again, magical thinking. I'm just waiting for something magically to turn around and for my life to get better and for my loneliness to go away. You know, and especially with women, what we've learned is that you keep waiting. Your Prince Charming is right around the corner. You know, you keep waiting, and your boyfriend and your girlfriend is going to come around and they're going to rescue you. You know, when you're brought up with that damsel in distress kind of a thought process. For men, what is it like looking at the fairy tales? That you have to wander a lot, you have to search a lot, and you have to do a lot of ghor tapasya, and then finally you will find your woman who you will rescue, and then she's going to devote the rest of her life to you. That's why men get cold feet when they're at the altars, because they're like, am I rushing into it too much? Have I wandered enough? You know, and that's why women are always waiting that if this person's come along, this may be the one. I think I've got my the one. So we're always like carrying that lens. Are you my the one? Are you my the one? You know. And for men, it's always like, no, I have to explore more. I have to like meet more. Women, I have to really, search the field before I finally settle down. You know. So this is what is the state of people who've not found their the one. They're equally stuck if you look at it.
Okay, now let's probably delve a little more into this and understand what's really problematic about this whole construct of the perfect one, the fairy tale ending.
You see that the moment, like I said, we put all our eggs in one basket, you know, we are only going to wait for this one person to come along and fix it all for us, which means that we are not going to take responsibility of our life, which means that we will become procrastinators, people who are always delaying things. We will not take charge of our own happiness. We will not see how we can find connection and what can we do to have that come our way. We will not, basically, if I have to conclude it, we will not take responsibility of our life. And we will come to this point where we're not active participants in our life, but spectators, where we're sitting back and we're watching the show and we're waiting for the hero to come along for everything to get better in the movie. We're not the audiences in our life. We are the participants. We are the lead, actually. And we have to write the script. But the moment we are waiting for someone else to do it for us, we become very passive, you know and we somehow start to follow this construct that love is about having someone else come and find you, or you finding someone, instead of making that, constructing that with someone. you know and then we start to approach love in a way that it's just something that happens. you know and that becomes a fundamental problem, because then we start to think that this is where the idea comes that love doesn't require effort. If you found the person, if you've clicked with them, that's it, you got it, it's simple. That is how it should be. It should be simple. And this idea is glorified in our society so much that we never talk about, but what about maintaining love? But what about sustaining a relationship? And no, you need to put effort in a relationship. Just because you found love and you've clicked with someone, that is not enough. You need to continue to invest in your relationship. It's serious business. It's another human being that you're talking to. And if you're thinking of spending the rest of your lives together, then you need to show up for each other. You need to have difficult conversations. You need to be vulnerable to each other. You need to see their pain while you are in pain yourself. And that's a very difficult position to be in. You can't have your anger, which is very natural to come up, but you can't have your anger blind you that you are not going to see the perspective of your partner. So it's, like I said, it's serious business. It's constant work. And there is no couple in the entire world that does not have flaws, that do not fight. Every couple has their own struggles. Every couple has their own battles. And to say that if you're truly in love you won't have that, that's a very, again, fairy tale-ish idea. You're going to have that, and the idea is not how many conflicts you have or whether or not you have them. The idea is how do you navigate through them. you know but when you're approaching love from this state of mind that you're going to come along and then everything is going to change, then you're waiting to receive more than giving. And there is no contributing, there's no coming together and constructing something together, but there's more like, I'm waiting to be rescued. So if I am being rescued, it means I was a prisoner. A prisoner doesn't have much to offer, and you're not getting into a relationship in an in a way that you've just gotten out of a jail and you've just been rescued. So now it's your time to live. It's your time to be nurtured and integrate back to the society, because then that way you have nothing to offer to the other person. What about sitting and thinking, what do I want to give? The constant question remains, what kind of person do you want? What do you want in them? And the question never is, what can you bring to a relationship? What can you contribute? What do you have to offer? Right? So one of the many problems is that it becomes one way. You're either constantly thinking about giving so that you could feel in power, in control, or you constantly want to be in a place where you're receiving, right? Because this person is, when the moment I say that this person is the one, it means that this is going to be everything that I would have wanted in my life, right? So I'm not going to approach it from the place of, but this can be flawed, this can be imperfect, and this is going to be imperfect, and I'm not going to be ready for those imperfections. I'm not going to be ready for that, for those kind of conflicts. And this is the fundamental problem with this concept of wanting the one. When I'm asked that can you really have that, I always say that it's not so much that there is one person for everyone, but more like everyone can find someone and everyone can build that with someone, given that you're ready to put the efforts that it requires and you're approaching it from the place of responsibility, where you are in charge of your happiness and you just share it with this person, you know. So, whoever you finally come down to, you feel drawn towards them, you feel connected to them, they can be your the one if you're willing to put in that kind of effort and if both of you are on the same page, if both of you are willing to do that for each other, to each other, with each other.
And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that for anybody to have this kind of a perspective, it's so important for them to also understand how you can never put all your eggs in one basket. You always have to sort of, like how you always say that your different needs. I mean, all your needs can't be catered to by one person, right? So, and because this is like a heavily learned pattern, how do you think people can navigate their way through this? How do they now take a step back and figure out how to divide those kind of needs and where to source them from?
Right. I think, first of all, to understand where are we coming from? Why is it that I think that it's only my partner who's going to meet all my unmet needs? Why is it that this partner only is going to be my rescuer? And why can't I reach out to other relationships like that? So, to question our belief system, if we really want to unlearn this, we've always talked about it, feel to heal, so feel, get in touch, recognize what is your idea of a romantic relationship, when is it that you learned it, where is it that you learned it from, and get in touch with that entirely and then challenge it. Ask yourself, is that really humanly possible? If my partner comes along and if they want me to play all of these roles in their life, can I do that? Can I put up with that? you know as much as I love them, as much as I would want to be there for them, but you also have your own individual life and you can't really be there for another person at all times. It's just humanly not possible. And then besides, there's no room for mistakes. There's no room for taking a break, like both of them are taking a break from their role in the relationship today. There's no room for like I said, flaws and imperfections, and conflicts, which is so important in a relationship. So here's what we need to do. First, we need to recognize what is our idea and where are we learning this from. Second, we then need to simply take our eggs out of that one basket and divide it to all the other baskets. We need to have certain areas of our life that are just ours. Even if our soulmate comes along, the fact that your soulmate has now come along, it doesn't mean that you have to let go of your own soul. Remember that it's a mate for your own soul, which means that you need to continue to feed into your soul as well. And your soul is not that person, they're just your soul's mate, even if you want to believe in that concept, right? But your soul is still there. Your needs are still there. Who you are, your essence, what you like, what you don't, your interests are still there. And not everything has to be matching with you and your partner. That is not what it means to have the one. That is not what it means to have this one person that we'll do everything together, and all of our interests are matching. People go like, these are the things I want in my partner. I want them to have this because I like these things. But that's not quite how it works, right? Does it? It's about how you click, and how you click has nothing to do with whether or not you have common interests. You can have, both of you can have your own interests, and then you can have certain common areas, you know that you'd like to do, the things that you'd like to do together. So go out with your own girlfriends, go out with your own boyfriends, do your own thing. Have them meet your friends, but also invest in your friends individually. Tap into those areas of your life that are just yours, your hobbies, where you get in touch with truly who you are, and not just at work. That I'm on my own only at my work, and then I come back to my partner, and then everywhere my partner is there. So we literally need to pull our eggs from that one basket and distribute it to all the other baskets. Because then I'll tell you this one more thing, that it also prevents abuse. It also prevents toxicity. Because when all your eggs are divided into other baskets as well, the stakes are not as high. Not all of your sense of self comes from this one person. So when this is the case, you are very less likely to overlook the red flags, if at all there are any. You're able to look at them. And if even if you require to let go of a toxic partner, you have all these other baskets to lean on, which can be your support system, your personal hobbies, anything, traveling solo, reading books, pursuing a hobby that you do on your own, you know, creating something, hanging out with your friends, leaning on your support system, just doing anything that connects you with yourself. And it's so important to get in touch with those areas of your life. That's why we always say that, you got to meet your own soul before you find a soulmate, because then you'll get lost. You'll become a part of them, and you won't have your own soul to begin with. Then what mate are you looking for? Right? So this is basically what you need to do. You need to get in touch with what are your learned patterns, and then see how can you break them. How can you get in touch with bigger areas of your life where your partner is not a part of it.
And Praneeth, now that we've understood that you can never have the person for you, rather you can have someone for you, right? That's another approach to look at it. So now I want to understand from you, how is it that you think one should look at their relationship to maybe have a benchmark, and that benchmark shouldn't be that this has to be the perfect one. So alternatively, how does one gauge that okay, this is a good place for me to stay with?
You cannot know that. You can't ever know that. That's the thing about relationships. This is one place where you can't have certainty. This is one place where you can't be sure. This is one place where you can't know it all and then decide to step into it. Relationships are one place where vulnerability as is at its maximum. You know, you are exposing yourself to emotional risk, you're exposing yourself to massive amount of uncertainty. You don't know what you're getting into, and that is what it is like. That's why it's risky business, but we still want to do it, because if at the end of this vulnerability lies all kinds of heartbreaks, then at the end of this vulnerability only lies connection, lies belongingness, and everything that you all long for. So here's what you'll know. You won't know if this is the one. You won't know if this is the right fit for you. The right fit for you you'll have to sort of, it's a trial and error, you know. You'll have to get into it to find out. All you'll know is that I'm attracted to this person. I like how they look. I like how they feel. I like to spend time with them. I want to see them more. I feel drawn towards them. There are certain things about them that really catch my attention. I feel there's something about us that's compatible, and I want to see them more. That's all you'll know in the initial phase of your relationship. And then you will pursue it. You will follow your emotions, follow your feelings, you will check with them where they're at, and then you will keep going forward, and that's all you'll know. And then as you go, you'll figure it out. And here's what will help you the most: one tool. And that one tool is authenticity. As long as you're authentic to yourself. For example, this person is so good. They are this, they're that, they're good looking, they have interests that are very interesting to me. I feel very drawn towards them. I'm super attracted. I think we have that sort of a similar intellectual equation going on, and everything is perfect. But this person doesn't want commitment, and I do. But I'm not going to tell this person, and I'm going to keep that aside. And that part of myself I'm going to betray while I continue to invest in this relationship in the hope that they'll eventually come around and they would want the same things that I do. This is where we start to betray ourselves. The moment we leave the hand of authenticity, we sign up for perhaps unhealthy relationships, toxicity, all kinds of things. So keep following your gut while you're also being authentic to yourself. Do not betray any part of yourself. Be truthful. Bring honesty to your relationships. Tell yourself out loud what are you looking for, and then make sure that you communicate it to your potential partner as well. And then see that when you're authentic, can they handle it? Are they okay with it? Are they welcoming of it? And if they are, then you know that this is exactly what you want, right? You want to be heard, you want to be seen, and you want to be known for exactly who you are and not someone else. You want to be liked for exactly who you are and not for someone else. But how would you know if they like you for who you are if you won't be yourself entirely? So that's it. That's what you need to do. You need to take the leap of faith and you need to learn what boundaries are. You need to learn who is stepping over my authenticity, who is not honoring it. And it's just going to guide you in the right direction.
Right. I have two questions with me that people from our community have sent us. So let's take that up. So the first question says, what happens when your chosen one betrays you?
Hmm. Well, your self esteem takes a big hit. Your mental health goes for a toss. You start questioning everything. You start questioning yourself, the relationship, the whole concept of trusting another person and being with someone. You're going to get super rebellious, or you'll go on a spree of just connecting with everyone on a very platonic level. Either of these two things. But deep down, if I talk about your emotions, you're going to be deeply hurt. You're going to feel really rejected, really small, and that may lead to some very personal insecurities of not being good enough, not being adequate, not feeling disapproved and feeling rejected, leads to a massive amount of self-doubt, right? And once that happens, you're going to approach your entire approach towards the whole relationship thing starts to change. This is when clients walk in and they say things like, uh, I don't talk to people very easily. I don't open up very easily. I'm an introvert. It has nothing to do with introvert. You've just been hurt so much that you're very scared of putting yourself out there again. So that is what happens. When your chosen one betrays you, you have difficulty putting yourself out there. And then comes this fact that, you know, that we think that if our chosen one, if this person is our chosen one, there can't be mistakes. They can't, like I said, betray us. And if this person is my chosen one, they can't mess up. And if they have messed up, then I have to keep coming back to them. I have to keep giving them chances. So we have either of these two thoughts, very polarized thoughts. That one, they have to be perfect, they can't mess it up. But then on the other end, they keep messing it up and we keep giving them second chances, sometimes even when they don't really deserve it, you know. And we keep, like I said, betraying that part of ourselves that is feeling betrayed by this person. And we keep exposing ourselves to the same kind of hurt in the relationship again, right? Because we think that this is my the one, so they deserve all the chances because this is my soulmate, I can't let them go. Which is so ironic. The entire idea of having the one, if at all we go by that, or having a soulmate is that someone who's really able to be there for you and understand you. And just the opposite is happening, but you're thinking that, oh, but this is my soulmate, and even if they don't understand me, I can't let them go. So that's sort of a balance, to understand when you're betrayed by your chosen one, to understand that a even the partner that you choose may not be perfect and there can be flaws, and if there are, and you it's something that you can repair, then you can both sit down on it and you can start to repair it. And b, to then also acknowledge if it goes beyond that repair position, if it can't be repaired anymore, to know when it is important to let go and move out and move on. This is what we need to learn, and we need to normalize having conflicts in relationships, but we also need to normalize walking out when it's beyond repair.
The next question says, can I find the one in an arranged marriage?
Hmm. I found this question really interesting. And based on whatever we've been discussing today, you definitely can. Because, we now know that it's not about finding this one person who's somewhere out there in the world for you. It's a big world. Even if they are out there, you don't know which country or which continent they're at. And it's just a very complicated concept. It just leads to all the more anxiety. Besides, like we discussed, that you can have any person become your person if you're willing to give that relationship what it needs for us to nurture it, for both of us to make it something that both of us want. First of all, I think we discussed this in one of the other episodes as well, that it's about coming together, giving birth to a child, and then not thinking that, oh, now that I've given birth, this was a big, very taxing bit of it. Now we're okay. Now, our job is done. Now just leave the child and they'll get nurtured on their own. If we talk about this is such a bizarre concept. We'd probably like start really abusing the parents who are doing this. Like, how can you do this? How can you leave something after giving birth? How can you leave that child? So similarly, that is the case in relationships as well. When you give birth to mutual feelings, to that sort of a connection, you can't leave it. you know that is considered as sin in our society, in Eastern culture, that you can't do that. It's very, like, there's so much shame also around that. Like, even if uh, parents of women choose to go back to work after having child, there's so much shame around that we really consider it as a sin, that you can't just bring something so precious to the world and then leave it, right? But that is exactly how it is with, I feel, love as well. That when two people come together, they are really parenting the love that they are creating, and they really have to nurture it like their child. When two people come together, their first child is always the love and the connection that they give birth to together, you know. So when they come together, they consummate with their emotions and they give birth to this connection that they're going to enjoy for the rest of their life, given they nurture it and they don't let it die. So even if you are in an arranged marriage and someone else has chosen a partner for you, someone else arranged it for you, you can work on how you're communicating to each other. You can first work on becoming friends, getting to know each other, you know having certain common areas that you can enjoy together. You need to add a lot of play, a lot of fun, a lot of um, sitting down, having conversations, but also getting up and involving in a lot of movement together, you know, and that is going to give a lot of nurturance to your relationship. That is going to determine how far are you going to go, how are you going to feel about each other, and how connected you can stay. Because we know that marriages fail, whether it's love or arranged marriage, and we know they work out again, whether it's love or arranged. It's really about how you navigate through what problems. And in the end, I'll tell you this, that every partner that you choose, they will come with their own set of flaws, their own kind of imperfections, and you will have different kind of conflicts with every partner. So if you choose this partner, you deal with these issues. If you choose this partner, you deal with these issues. So it's really about what kind of issues are you ready to deal with, because sooner or later you're going to have to be ready to deal with these issues.
Right. And with that, we come to a close for today's episode. And yeah, thank you for this insightful conversation once again. And we'll see you next week with another theme. Until then, keep pouring your heart out.